but I already knew I had the job. To my YouTube channel. As you can tell by the title of this video, it's going to be a very exciting one, and I'm very excited to tell you guys all the details, especially if you watched my last video and I was so down and God heard my prayers. He didn't just give me one, he gave me two, and I can't thank him enough. So since I'm very shy to go to church and give my testimony, so I'm going to tell you guys all about it today. I'm also going to be talking about my recruitment process, my interview process, interview tips, and show you guys my CV that I used to apply. So I don't want you guys to miss out on anything. So stay tuned to the end of this video. So before I start this video, I want to talk about the sponsor, TransferGo. TransferGo is a way to send money to Nigeria as fast as possible, and it takes less than 30 minutes for your family or friends to get the money. They have good rates. You can send money any time of the day. You don't have to worry, guys. They're highly regulated by the UK authorities, and I've also been using it for the past 6 months. You can send money to your family and your friends through bank accounts, through any Nigerian bank account, or you can send dollars to their bank and then they'll go pick it up. So the process is very easy, and you can send money to the website or you can download the app. So yeah, guys, check out TransferGo and start sending money today. Okay, guys, let me tell you how it all happened. The time I did my last video where I was talking about career path and TIER-2 job hunting, I've already started applying like a week before that. So I made up my mind that any job I'm going to apply to is going to be sponsored job. Like, I've already spent 1.5 years working, so this time around, like, it's time to just focus on sponsor job. I saw someone in the comment section that was like, it's better to just apply for any job, and if the company wants to sponsor you, like, they're going to sponsor you. Like, I get that. The thing is just that when you are very close to your deadline, it's better you just get a company that is already that already has that license, just because it's not every company that is going to want to do that, and also the company has to be eligible to get that. It's better to just apply for jobs that is already sponsored. That list on the government website is so long. Trust me, I didn't go to the website and I just started applying one by one. No, I don't have time. Like, that list is so long. So basically, all the jobs I've gotten in the UK is from LinkedIn. Before I apply for a job, I look at the job description. If it relates to me, I will just go to the government website to cross-check if that is on the government website. So it's not like I'm going to the government website, I'm actually applying on LinkedIn and going to verify on the government website. That's how I was doing. I was applying for jobs. I got a lot, unfortunately. I'm just going to talk about the 2 top ones I got. I applied for JD, and I was applying for a digital marketing executive for JD Sports, and I think I applied for since 2 weeks, and then they called me on the 3rd week. The recruiter is in now, so he works in JD. He saw my application and he wanted to talk more about my experience. Like, okay, he's going to pass my details to the head of HR, and if I pass through, they're going to get back to me. 1 week passed, 2 weeks passed, I didn't hear from them again. So what I did was to send him an email reminding him, saying, we had a chat, I'm just following up if anything has come up with your manager. I'm very busy, so they're going to get back to me very soon. So they got back to me like a week later, saying that they want to book an interview with me. So I had an interview for JD on Tuesday. Before that, on my LinkedIn, so because I knew that I was open to jobs, even when I was in my former company, there's this place on your profile that says open to. So basically, you leave your page as open to work, or you're already working, but just so you don't miss out on any opportunity and anybody can reach out to you if you're interested. I just kept my LinkedIn up to date. I also kept my work samples on my LinkedIn. During the course of me applying, someone reached out to me, and then the recruiter reached out to me. So I told her that, okay, yes, I'm interested, and she sent me the job description. She also asked me for my expectation, salary expectations, and then I told her and she said okay, she's going to get back to me. So I waited a few days, but I didn't really put my mind to it because I've had a lot of recruiters reach out to me on LinkedIn. Some people see it like a waste of time, but I always take every one of them serious. A lot of recruiters are out there seeking and looking for who to get to their company or who to employ. So it's always good to leave your page very optimized and ready so that when anyone comes to your page, they get to know a bit more about you and more about your experience. I wrote down my expectations, and I think it was about a few days, and I also sent out my updated CV. And then she got back to me and she was like, unfortunately, we weren't able to progress with my application because the salary, because they were offering for an executive lower than the salary I gave them, so they could not pay me what I wanted. I was like, okay, no problem, anyways. So she got back to me again. She didn't give up. She got back to me again saying that, oh, there's a higher role available and it's within my salary range, so if I would like to apply for this one with the same company. I was like, yeah, no problem. So I applied for it, and a few days later she got back saying that they wanted to set up an interview with me if I was available, and I said yes. So the first thing I did when she reached out to me, just so I don't waste my time, is to go and check if the job is on the government website, because at this point, this year is almost over. I have just 1 year to get my sponsorship, and as you guys know, me, I like to plan something that is happening 2 years. I'm already planning at the beginning of the first year. I don't like to miss out on anything. I don't want story at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, this the post-study visa we have, it doesn't even count towards your permanent residence here, so there's no even need having it for so long. So mind you, that week I had 2 interviews. I had the first stage of this company and then the first stage of JD. I read about the company and I saw they have fashion clients and cosmetics, and that's what really got to me. I'm really into fashion and I'm also into cosmetics, so I thought it's something I'm going to really enjoy. So I was like, okay, no matter what happens, I'm going to get into this company. And I read so much about the company before the interview. My flatmate even saw me reading, because she's also into marketing, and she was like, what are you reading? Because I stayed up late in the night and I was reading, and she was like, what are you reading? That is when I read too much that I get to the interview stage and I forget. That's not me. I like to read. So basically what I was reading was about their website, about their client. They also had case studies on their website, so I was also reading that. And then I was also reading about their awards. I was checking their website very well, looking for something that is wrong so I can point it out during my interview, just to show that I have key attention to details. So I'm really giving you interview tips, guys. This is how I always prepare for my interview, no matter how small it is. When preparing for an interview, try and look for problems, maybe on their Instagram page. Look for something that you can suggest that they can do better, just so it shows that you have a lot to bring. And that's exactly what I did. So during the interview stage, my interview was with 2 ladies for this company. They were really nice. I always try not to get tense during my interview, even if I have to pretend I'm not tense by laughing. Oh my god, thank you so much for having me. But in my mind is burning. So I always try not to get tense, and these ladies made me feel really comfortable. They were so nice. They were like, tell me about yourself. So I gave them a very brief summary because I knew they were going to ask me about my CV. So there's no need for me to just include my CV inside, tell me about yourself. I gave it to them very brief. As you all know, my name is Phoebe, and then I studied this in school. I left Nigeria after doing this to come to the UK to further my education. I just finished for my master's degree and I started working. I'm with this company currently. I'm looking for a new role because of this. Very brief, very short. They're like, okay, nice. Okay, so can you run us through your CV? Guys, when they say run us through your CV, the way I used to talk, don't be too quick to just run through your CV. Take it gradually. And when you're talking about your CV, for instance, let's say you worked, let's say for instance now, my former company, I was working in content writing. So I'm not just going to say, and also don't read your CV to them, they already have it. I'm not going to say, I wrote content, and then I helped my manager and stuff like that. You want to give examples, like bring your CV to life. Oh, we had this campaign recently, and this campaign was for let's say for children orphanage home, and then we had to go to the orphanage home, and I was a very big part of this project. And basically what I did was to go there and interview the staff to try to get as much information as I could, and then I took that information and created a content plan so that it's going to help me. I got information from the staff, from their website, and I put it together to create a story. At the end of the day, we had over £5,000 donation. So even when you're telling them example of your project, you're also giving them results. Try and go into details because they are there to get to know you. You need to really convince them that you know what you're doing and you know what you're talking about. You just don't have those details on your CV. Even when an interviewer asks me a question and I'm not really sure, I just try to answer it as best as I can and just let them know, okay, I don't have this much experience in this, but I have touched on it when I wanted to help out or when I was doing my training. Be truthful. So during the course of my interview, because my former company were focused heavily on search campaign, they asked me, because they're into e-commerce, so they asked me if I've done shopping campaign before. I've not done shopping campaign before because I was focused on search, but I told them that I've touched on it during the course of my training. They said, okay, no problem, that's fine. And I actually thought that was going to be a problem. I was honest at least, and I told them. They said they'll get back to me. Honestly, like I really wanted that company, and just because the company is close to my house, so all the jobs I've been working in, I always have to travel to Abeokuta every 5 o'clock in the morning to get the train. So just the thought of me strolling to work was like, oh my god, I need this job. Okay, so I waited, and guess what, guys? They got back to me that same day telling me that they really liked my interview and they would like to invite me for a second stage. So they said the second stage is going to be a project, and I also have to present this to them. So I got to work. So what I did was I went to their website. This was my campaign. I went to their website. I saw their color. I also saw their logo. I also saw the fonts that they use. You know, I was trying to be very intentional in my presentation, just because I want them to know that I've read a lot about this company. So I knew I had to put the logo on all the pages of the document. I had to use the color, and I'm not going to go into details of this project. So basically, I really deep dived into this fashion client that I made up in my mind, because when a client is giving you so much money to do campaign for them, obviously they want to know how you are going to spend that money. So I went into as much information as I could get. One thing I also like to do, when a company gives me a task, and they say you have until next week Thursday, or you're going to present on Thursday or something, I always don't like to wait till Thursday to send them the task, because that means I won't be able to deliver on time, or it just means that I won't be able to meet deadlines. So when they say they want something on Thursday, by Monday I've sent it to them. So that was it. And then I also needed confidence from above to present this on that day. So that's it. Now let's go to JD. I had my first interview with JD. The first person I saw came into the interview. Guys, another thing I want to mention is that, so you know on LinkedIn, when you apply for a job, the LinkedIn will have like a job description about the company, the role that they are advertising for, the candidate they are going to select, what kind of skills do they want the candidate to have, things like that. So when you read about a company's job description and they will tell you like the skills they want the candidates to have, you need to write that skills down and you need to relate it to your own skills, so that when you're talking about what you've done in the past, you can now integrate it together. So it was time for the interview, and I had the first person come up to me and he was like, oh hi, nice to meet you. I actually thought I was having an interview with just this guy, and then he was like, oh, you're going to meet all the managers on the team, because this is a one-stage interview and they won't like to prolong it. They just like to do things as fast as possible. So instead of me coming back to do second stage, they are going to do everything in one. So that's why they want the managers to be here, so they don't have to call them again. So guys, I had 5 people interview me for JD. They just started coming up on my screen one by one, and I was like, what have I gotten myself into? What have I gotten myself into? And all of them were guys. When I told you I felt intimidated, but I had to just keep up my smile. So the guy was like, don't panic or anything, this is just a one stage and we're just trying to put everything on time. But let's say like there are 5. Each of them had a section of my CV they were going to ask me about. So the first guy, I think he was the head of PPC. So he was focused on asking me about the company, JD. This is why it's good to read their job description. So I answered the question about JD, and the next guy was asking me about my CV. It specifically said, oh, this company, I saw you did this. You wrote in your CV that you achieved this result. How did you achieve that? I explained to him what I did. The next guy, this one was technical. The next guy, he was more focused on Facebook and Instagram advertisement. So he asked me the type of campaigns I've ran on Facebook, and asked me to run him through the process. So how did I run this campaign? So you can't even go into interview line. You need to know what you're saying. And the last guy was asking me about when my start date, when I would like to start, but at this point it's already up to an hour. And after they were done, I felt a sign of relief, that thank goodness. And then they asked me, do you have any question? Now, this is another interview tip. So always have questions for your interviewer. Just try and ask them something. Oh, so what's the team like? If I'm to start, what's the onboarding process like? What's the biggest challenge you're facing in the department now? Just so that, you're asking reasonable questions. Like now, when you're asking what challenge you're facing in like the department, they'll tell you, oh, we've been trying to do this and we're not getting results. Just so that at least before you even come for the next stage, you're already thinking of how you can help them contribute to solving that problem. This time around, I always ask questions, my interviewer, I always ask questions. But this time around, I said I didn't have any questions because I was exhausted. I didn't have any questions. I was like, oh, it's fine, like, I don't have any questions. They're like, okay, no worries, we'll get back to you. When my flatmate asked me how my interview went, I was like, I'm honestly not sure. I don't think I'm going to get it because it was so intense. I just forgot about it. Then I focused on doing my presentation for the other company. So now the time came for me to do my presentation for the other company, and then I did my presentation. I was really confident. I tried to like speak up, and you know when you do a presentation. So let's say you write, marketing is a way of reaching out to people, blah blah blah. When you're presenting, don't say marketing is a way of reaching out to people. Try and summarize it in your head. So it's not like they're not bored, they're not reading it like only what's there, just reading. No. Try and summarize. So I tried to summarize each of the slides. By the time I was done, they seemed really impressed. They said they really liked my ideas and they really liked the way I got so much information. It just really shows I know what I'm doing. I got so much information on my document. Even though they gave me little information, I made it into like this big fashion company. I always say, like, even if you're not even confident to speak out to people, just be like, imagine there's nobody in your front and just speak out. Because at the end of the day, like, you have to, guys, me, I know myself, like, I don't want to talk in front of people. When it comes to something that I want, they'll get back to me like the next week, because that was on Thursday, so they'll get back to me next week. And I was like, oh my god, like now I have to wait for like a week. And mind you, I already removed JD from my mind. The next day was Friday. I was minding my business. 12 o'clock, I got a call, and the call was from JD. So, and it was like, they really liked your interview and they would like to offer you the position. So I was thinking about it, praying to God that this other company should reach out to me. One thing I was also very specific about was the commute. JD is in Bury, and let's say I've not gotten my apartment before I started looking for a job, I would have relocated, no doubt. That same day, he called me around 12, he called me around 3, saying that this is not telling me anything, but it's just trying to get some information. But he has good news, but he doesn't want to spoil it and tell me first. But he asked me, when can you start? And then I told him, but I already knew I had the job. So he got back to me like 2 hours later, like around 5, saying that offering me the job. Oh my god, I was so emotional. I was so happy. I had to put into consideration other things. For this job, I really resonated. This is also like a senior role than where I was before. So it's like, I feel like I'm progressing, number 1. Number 2, the commute is really good. Number 3, when I was interacting with the manager during my interview, I really felt, comfortable. Like I really felt like they were really nice to me, and I really interacted with them well, which is very important because you and your manager have to have a good relationship, and I already had a good relationship, like just speaking with them. So it was really hard. At that time was like public holiday, so I took 3 days to think about it. I consulted my parents. I also consulted like professional bodies, and then it was time to make my decision on Monday. So I sent an email to GD saying I'm very grateful for this opportunity, very, very grateful, and that in future, if my circumstances should change, let's say I get a car, can commute easily, I would definitely come again to apply, and that I'm really grateful for even giving me a chance, blah blah blah. And then I called the other company and I said I'm going to accept the role. I was so happy, guys, so happy, and I felt really confident in my decision because my parents already prayed about it, and I trust my parents when it comes to prayer. My first week was filled up with intense training on different platforms. So that's it, guys. And before I accepted this role for the company, I asked them, because during the course of my interview, they never asked me if I'm eligible to work or asked me if I'm going to require sponsorship. I knew I needed to chip it in one way or the other. That email asking, oh, I'm going to require sponsorship, but I didn't want to say it in a way that I need the sponsorship, like just like, oh, I'm going to require sponsorship along the way because I've almost exhausted my 1-year post-study visa. So they agreed, and they said that they're going to start the process very soon. When I start the process, I'm going to let you know. I know things don't work out for people the same way it works out for other people. Me personally, this was how I wanted to get a sponsored job. I wanted to add value to myself in the UK first. I wanted to get the UK work experience. I wanted to do certifications to put on my CV. I wanted to, make myself more valuable, taking trainings, and even my first internship in the UK was free. They did not pay me, and I did it for free. So sometimes it's not always about the money. For instance, when I finished my NYS, when I finished my BSc, I knew I was going to come to the UK, but at that time I didn't have any working experience. The only experience I had was internship and training. My dad took me to digital marketing school where I did intense training and got some certifications, but I've not yet put it into practice. So I knew I needed that. In my mind, I'm like, I need to work for at least a year to get experience before coming to the UK to do my master's degree. So it's very good if you have an idea or if you've done something like that before coming to come and do your master's degree. Because I know things are different for everyone. So for instance, now just because I waited a year plus doesn't mean that you should wait a year plus. So if you have the opportunity now to apply for a sponsored job, go ahead and do it. Even though you're still in school, you can still start applying for sponsored job. It's just that for me, when I started applying for jobs back when I was in school, my master's, I realized that they were not taking my CV very serious. I was getting a lot of rejections. What was happening? You get? And then when I did my internship, I noticed a spike. Things work differently for everyone, so you don't need to have UK experience before you get a job. Sometimes it's just like an edge. And also, this testimony also came when I decided I was going to be a worker in church. Last time I was a worker was when I was in secondary school, and I've been running away from it. And I decided that, okay, now since I'm settled, I have no reason not to serve God. I decided to join the workers department in church. And before I joined, I told God, I need to serve you now. I need to serve you with all my heart and dedicate my time to you, and this is my heart desire. And within 2 weeks of being a worker, I got my testimony. My next video is going to be about showing you guys my actual CV. I'm just going to walk you through my structure and the way I wrote things, and then so if you have any questions or CV, and to show you certifications that I took. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video.